The Caledonian Boar. Oeneus, king of Caledon in Aetolia, married Athea. She first bore him Toxius, whom Oeneus killed with his own hands for rudely leaping over the fosse which he had been dug in defense of the city, and then Meleager, said to have been in reality her son by Ares. Period. When Meleager was 7 days old, the fates came to Althea's bedroom and announced that he could live only so long as a certain brand on the hearth remained unburned. She at once snatched the brand from the fire, extinguishing it with a pitcher full of water, and then hid it in a chest. B. Meleager grew up to be a bold and invulnerable fighter and the best javelin thrower in Greece, as he proved at Acastus's funeral games. He might still be alive, but for an indiscretion committed by Oeneus, who one summer forgot to include Artemis in his yearly sacrifices to the 12 gods of Olympus. Artemis, when informed of this neglect by Helios, sent a huge boar to kill Oeneus's cattle and laborers and to ravage his crops. But Oeneus dispatched heralds inviting all the bravest fighters of Greece to hunt the boar and promising that whoever killed it should have its pelt and tusks. C. Many answered the call, among them Castor and Polydeuces from Sparta, Idas and Lynceus from Messene, Thessus and Athens, and Pirithous from Larissa, Jason from Iolcus, and Admetus from Pherae, Nestor from Pylos, Pelus from Eurytion from Phthia, and Iphicles from Thebes, Amphiaraus from Argos, Telamon from Salamis, Cineas from Magnesia, and finally Ancaeus and Siphus from Arcadia, followed by their compatriot, the chaste, swift-footed Atlanta, only daughter of Iasus and Climon. Iasus, how do you say that? Isis. No, it's not Isis, though. Iasus, I can't say it, had wished for a male heir, and Atlanta's birth disappointed him so cruelly that he exposed her on the Parthenian hill near Caledon, where she was suckled by a bear, with Artemis sent to her aid. Atlanta grew to womanhood among a clan of hunters who found and reared her, but remained a virgin and always carried arms. On one occasion she came fainting for thirst to Syphanta, and there, calling on Artemis and striking a rock with the point of her spear, made a spring of water gush out. But she was not yet reconciled to her father. D. Oeneus entertained the huntsmen royally for 9 days, and though Ancaeus and Cepheus at first refused to hunt in company with a woman, Meleager declared on Oeneus's behalf that unless they withdrew their objection, he would cancel the chase altogether. The truth was that Meleager had married Ida's daughter, Cleopatra, but now felt a sudden love for Atlanta and wished to integrate himself with her. His uncles, Althea's brothers, took an immediate dislike to the girl, convinced that her presence would lead only to mischief, because he kept sighing deeply and exclaiming, "Ah, how happy the man whom she marries!" Thus the chase began under bad auspices. Artemis herself had seen to this. E. Amphiaraus and Atalanta, no, it's not Atlanta, it's Atalanta, were armed with bows and arrows, others with boar spears, javelins, or axes, each being so anxious to win the pelt for himself that hunt discipline was neglected. At Meleager's suggestion, the company advanced in a half moon at some paces interval through the forest where the boar had its lair. F. The first bloodshed was human, when Atalanta posted herself on the extreme right flank at some distance from the fellow hunters. Two centaurs, Hylias and Rhacus, who had joined the chase, decided to ravish her, each in turn assisting the other. But as soon as they ran towards her, she shot them both down and went to hunt at Meleager's side. G. Presently the boar was flushed from a water course overgrown with willows. It came bounding out, killed 2 of the hunters, hamstrung another, and drove young Nestor, who afterwards fought at Troy, up a tree. Jason and several others flung ill-aimed javelins at the boar, Iphicles, alone contriving to graze its shoulder. Then Telamon and Pelus went in boldly with boar spears, but Telamon tripped over a tree root, and while Pelus was pulling him to his feet, the boar saw them and charged. Atalanta let fly a timely arrow, which sank in behind the ear and sent it scurrying off. Ancaeus sneered, "That is no way to hunt. Watch me." He swung his battle axe at the boar as it charged, but was not quick enough. The next instant he lay castrated and disemboweled. And then, in his excitement, Pelus killed Euryton with a javelin aimed at the boar, which Amphiaraus had succeeded in blinding with an arrow. Next, it rushed at Theseus, whose javelin flew wide, but Meleager also flung and transfixed its right flank, and then, as the boar whirled around in pain, trying to dislodge the missile, drove his hunting spear deep under its left shoulder blade to the heart. The boar fell dead at last. At once Meleager flayed it and presented the pelt to Atalanta, saying, "You drew first blood, and had we left the beast alone, it would soon have succumbed to your arrow." H. His uncles were deeply offended. The eldest, Plexippus, argued that Meleager had won the pelt himself, and that, on his refusal, it should have gone to the most honorable person present, namely himself, as Oeneus's brother-in-law. Plexippus's younger brother supported him with the contention that Iphicles, not Atalanta, had drawn first blood. Meleager, in a lover's rage, killed them both. Athea, as she watched the dead bodies being carried home, set a curse upon Meleager, which prevented him from defending Claudion when his 2 surviving uncles declared war on the city and killed many of its defenders. At last, his wife Cleopatra persuaded him to take up arms, and he killed both these uncles, despite their support by Apollo, whereupon the Furies instructed Athea to take the unburned brand from the chest and cast it on the fire. Meleager felt a sudden scorching of his inwards, and the enemy overcame him with ease. Athea and Cleopatra hanged themselves, and Artemis turned all but 2 of Meleager's shrieking sisters into guinea hens, which he brought to her island at Leros, the home of evil livers. J. Delighted by Atalanta's success, Iasus recognized her at last as his daughter, but when she arrived at the palace, his first words were, "My child, prepare to take a husband," a disagreeable announcement, since the Delphic oracle had warned her against marriage. She answered, "Father, I consent on one condition. Any suitor for my hand must either beat me in a foot race, or else let me kill him." "So be it," said Iasus. K. Many unfortunate princes lost their lives in consequence, because she was the swiftest mortal alive. But Melanon, a son of Amphidamas the Arcadian, invoked Aphrodite's assistance. She gave him 3 golden apples, saying, "Delay Atalanta by letting these fall one after the other in the course of the race." The stratagem was successful. Atalanta stopped to pick up each apple in turn and reached the winning post just behind Melanon. L. The marriage took place, but the oracle's warning was justified, because one day, as they passed by the precinct of Zeus, Melanon persuaded Atalanta to come inside and lie with him there. Vexed that his precinct had been defiled, Zeus changed them both into lions. For lions do not mate with lions, but only with leopards, and they were thus prevented from ever again joining each other. This was Aphrodite's punishment, first for Atalanta's obstinacy to remain a virgin, and then for her lack of gratitude in the matter of the golden apples. But some say that before this, Atalanta had been untrue to Melanon and borne Meleager a child called Parthenopaeus, whom she exposed on the same hill where the she-bear had suckled her. He too survived, and afterwards defeated Idas and Ionia and marched with the 7 champions against Thebes. According to others, Eris, not Meleager, was Parthenopaeus' father. Atalantaea's husband was not Melanin, but Hippomens, and she was the daughter of Shoneus, who ruled Boeotian Onchestus. It is added that she and he profaned a sanctuary not of Zeus but of Cybele, who turned them into lions and yoked them to her chariot. Footers. 1. Greek physicians credited the marshmallow Athea from Athenian to cure with healing virtue, and being the first spring flower from which bees suck honey, it had much the same mythic importance as ivy blossom the last. The Caledonian Hunt is heroic saga based perhaps on famous boar hunt and on an Aetolian clan feud occasioned by it. But the sacred king's death at the onset of a boar whose curved tusk dedicated it to the moon is ancient myth and explains the introduction into the theory of heroes from several different Greek states who had suffered this fate. Hold on. The boar was peculiarly the emblem of Caledon and sacred to Ares, Meleager's reputed father. 2. Toxius's leap over the fosse is paralleled by Remus's leap over Romulus's wall. It suggests the widespread custom of sacrificing a royal prince at the foundation of a city. Meleager's brand recalls several Celtic myths, a hero's death taking place when some external object, a fruit, a tree, or an animal, is destroyed. 3. Artemis was worshipped as a Meleagress, or guinea hen, in the island of Leros, and on the Athenian Acropolis. The cult is of East African origin, to judge from this particular variety of guinea fowl, which had a blue wattle, as opposed to the red-wattled Italian bird introduced from Numidia, and its queer cucklings were taken to be sounds of mourning. Devotees of neither Artemis nor Isis might eat guinea fowl. The Lyrians' reputation for evil living may have been due to their religious conservatism, like the Cretans' reputation for lying. 4. She-bears were sacred to Artemis and Atalanta's race against Melanin is probably deduced from an icon which showed the doomed king with the golden apples in his hand being chased to death by the goddess. A companion icon will have shown an image of Artemis supported by 2 lions, as on the gate of Mycenae and on several Mycenaean and Cretan seals. The second version of the myth seems to be the older, if only because Shoneus, Atalanta's father, stands for Shonis, a title of Aphrodite's, and because Zeus does not figure in it. And because Zeus does not figure in it. 5. Why the lovers were punished. Here the mythographers mistakenly refer to Pliny, though Pliny says, on the contrary, that lions vigorously punish lionesses for mating with leopards. It is a problem of greater interest that Sir James Frazer, in his Notes on Apollodorus allows. What? Let me reread that. It made no sense to me. 5. Why the lovers were punished. Here the mythographers mistakenly refer to Pliny, though Pliny says, on the contrary, that lions vigorously punish lionesses for mating with leopards. Is a problem of great interest than Sir James Frazer, in his Notes on Apollodorus, allows. It seems to record an old exgamic ruling according to which members of the same totem clan could not marry one another, nor could lion clansmen marry into the leopard clan, which belonged to the same subphratry, as the lamb and goat clans could not intermarry at Athens. 6. Onius was not the only Hellenic king who withheld a sacrifice from Artemis. Her demands were much more severe than those of other Olympian deities, and even in classical times concluded holocausts of living animals. These Onius will hardly have denied her, but the Arcadian and Boeotian practice was to sacrifice the king himself, or a surrogate, as the Actian stag, and Onius may well have refused to be torn to pieces. All right.